Welcome to Eagle Podcast. I'm Edie, and I'm joined by...
Me, Julie. How are you, Edie?
Good. I'm really excited because our Eagle Mom Squad website has just opened our services page, so we can offer services to new parents homeschooling or experienced parents who are homeschooling. And we're here to talk a little bit about those services and explain them maybe to people who are new to homeschooling. Can you explain what evaluating is?
Well, I've been doing evaluations for, I guess, about 10 years now, but it's just an independent person who's going to check out the validity of a family's homeschool program. And you do that by looking through what we would call a portfolio, or you could call a scrapbook or a binder of proof that they've taught in the classes that are required by the state of Pennsylvania or by any whatever state you're in, to make sure that the child has shown progression throughout the year, say in something like math or English, history, or science. So an evaluator would sit down with the supervisor, which would be either the mom and or the dad, and then the child who's being evaluated, and go through this portfolio, which should be organized by subject matter and show progression. It should be the proof should be something like a test or a paper. It could be worksheets done throughout the year. Most people just put in tests and then just have a couple of examples that show progression of the concepts throughout the year. They have to all be date stamped, handwritten dates on it or whatever, just to show proof, again, that you have progress that's been made throughout the year. So an evaluator takes about an hour or so, depending upon the evaluator. It determines what the length of time will be, and interviews the child and the parent and talks about things that are in the portfolio. Just to also, you're kind of evaluating the student to see, make sure they're conversant about what they did, kind of get a gauge of, maybe you could say a little bit of what's the truthfulness of what I'm seeing in front of me. Also, is the kid enjoying themselves? Are they thriving in this environment, or is it really torturous for them, essentially? And you kind of get an idea of the relationship between the parent and the child as well. So you just want to make sure that everything's good, that there's nothing bad going on, that there's nothing fraudulent going on with the child's education. And then the parent comes with a form. Most of the time it's sent by the school district, saying, were all the requirements met, and usually just check a box, and then you sign your name to it. Sometimes if it's a high school student, you have to do a more in-depth evaluation, or actually an in-depth write-up about what the child has accomplished through the year in each of the subject areas. And that's more for the benefit of, say, if the child wants to go to college or go to some kind of a trade school, they have something in writing which can back up the education that they got from their parents.
You were our evaluator for one of my kids, and I really found it valuable to have a record kept by someone outside the family as a way to sort of serve as a guidance counselor when you're applying to different programs, college, military, trade schools, whatever you might need. As a homeschool family, often you need forms filled out, recommendation letters, that kind of thing. So that's also something that evaluators do for homeschoolers.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yep.
And obviously you can find our evaluators on our website, which is eaglemomsquad.com. But also you could look for evaluators in your area by looking for PHA, which is Pennsylvania Homeschoolers Accreditation Association.
Ask Pauline, that website does have a list of Pennsylvania evaluators, although I've never, added my name to it. I did recently look on there. Also, you can get a list of approved evaluators from your school district.
Right.
In Pennsylvania, there are two ways you can be an evaluator. One is be certified in the state of Pennsylvania as having a teacher certification. And the other way is if you have a family friend, somebody that you want to evaluate your child, and they don't have a teaching certificate. Now, each school district is a little bit different on this. What I recommend to my families is to just make sure that I'm an acceptable evaluator for them, because I'm not a certified teacher. I've also gone to school districts and asked for permission to evaluate in their school district, and I've been granted permission in most of the school districts that I've applied to, with the exception of two that wanted to make sure that their evaluators were certified teachers in Pennsylvania. So again, you can look at the Ask Pauline website or go to your school districts, and they should have a list.
And if you're going to do the Pennsylvania Homeschoolers Accreditation Association, they have a list of evaluators that specialize
Yes.
in their program, which is
Yes.
getting a diploma from them as opposed to a diploma issued by the parent in Pennsylvania or other states that allow that. You have to go through certain recommendations for their program, read 25 books a year, write 4 research papers. Their evaluators are studied up on what the specifications are and can help you prepare for the high school years as well as see that you've qualified for that diploma.
Yeah. So FA definitely has some added requirements to earn their diploma. It's not much, but they just want to be sure that the children are doing enough reading, doing enough writing, and they have the speech requirement as well to do at least one speech. I think it's 3 to 5 minutes long. It's nothing big, but they just want to make sure that the kids get that in. But there's other diploma programs in Pennsylvania, one of which is the parent-directed diploma, and it's just a matter of making sure that all of the Pennsylvania education requirements are met. So any parent can do that.
And if you're confused about whether you even need an evaluator, say you're from another state than Pennsylvania, just go on our site under resources and or parents new to homeschooling, and that'll guide you to the Homeschool Legal Defense Fund has a website, starting to homeschool, here's what you need to know from your state, and you can plug in your state and find out their requirements. So
Yeah.
now ask about our second group of services that we offer, which is tutoring. And we have a group of about 5 tutors and evaluators and consultants. And I thought, Julie, we could talk a little bit about our subjects.
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong musician, and so I've had an independent music studio for 30 years. So obviously, that's one of my tutor areas. And people can come to me for private lessons or for group music lessons. And you can contact me through our website, eaglemomsquad.com. You know, we can go from there either by Zoom online these days, or if we're at a distance, or come to me live, you know, in person if you're living in the Gettysburg area. I teach piano and flute, recorder, guitar, and I love to help any student go from where they are to a lifelong appreciation of music by mastering their instruments, or at least getting better at them, because we're always working to get better at it. And there's so many personal strengths that are developed through the study of music, the arts, sports. So when you're working one-on-one with a tutor in the arts, you can really develop other areas that make you do better on tests, have higher IQs. Just self-discipline is a great added benefit. And, you know, see if it fits in with your family. Can you find a little time in your child's schedule most days to spend time with their instrument or their voice and craft what they have naturally, and rent instruments, borrow them, buy them, use the voice, anything that develops their appreciation of that vehicle of communication will be really beneficial in their lives. So I'm Edie, and I'm on the website as a tutor and as an evaluator. And now Julie will give her spiel.
I have a bachelor's, and I just kind of like math and sciences. So I have gravitated towards teaching those things in a homeschool tutorial environment for the most part. But that has lent itself then to doing private tutoring for people as well. I haven't done a whole lot of it, but it's just, it just hasn't come my way yet, but it's a good thing to do. I don't mind it at all. I like working with the kids. I have helped kids in chemistry, physics, advanced math, which is essentially pre-calc and trig, algebra 2, algebra 1, a little bit of geometry, and I really enjoy it. So, one-on-one tutoring is fine, but I also would say if there's an opportunity to do, a couple of children, work with a couple of children at one time, that would be great too. I don't mind that. I think we're in our 16th year of homeschooling, so I know how to work with kids of all ages. I also have worked with kids that are kindergarten through third grade on history and crafts, and we've usually used a program called Story of the World, which is very nice. And again, that could be done with a couple of kids at any given time. That's what that's what I've done. I don't have like what Edie has in this, lifelong, music appreciation kind of thing. I just enjoy learning. I've learned a lot by way of teaching it. So, and I love kids. So I love working with kids and watching them grow and watching them get a concept. So that's how I come at the tutoring.
And why do you think parents might want to choose to work with a tutor?
Wow. Well, parents are humans and we've all been through school. Some subject matter we feel comfortable with, some subject matter we don't. So a lot of times I hear parents say, oh, I could never homeschool. I was never good in whatever subject they want to put out there. And you don't need to be good in everything. You just need to be resourceful. You need to find someone who is good at it and then tap into their abilities. So finding a tutor is an excellent way to do that. I've met dozens and dozens of parents who say they're no good at math. They don't want to do math. They can't be a homeschooler because they can't teach math. Well, just find a tutor.
Yeah, I like how you're saying be resourceful. I'm about to do a video for our website about being a great homeschool consumer. And parents need to get the job done of getting their kids from A to B, from kindergarten through 12th grade, or even just the year they've chosen to homeschool, or the semester, whatever A to B is.
Yeah.
You find yourself being very resourceful. If something's not working for your child, you go out there and get the resources that you need. And one of those resources is a tutor. In our family, math was a problem. Math takes a certain amount of drilling the concepts to get them to stick. And our family really needed an outside accountability to get that drilling done so that you can practice the concepts enough to really have it.
Yeah, I mean, and you bring up a really good point, Edie, about that outside source, because sometimes kids, they'll just walk all over their parents, or the parents will say, okay, I need you to turn in, this homework assignment by this specific date. And then the parent may forget to write it down on their calendar to check up on their child's work, or the kid may say, Mom, can't I just have another week to do it? And the mom's like, yeah, go ahead. Well, an outside source will essentially say, look, you got to get this assignment done by this date. And they're not going to have as much leeway, in the deadline moving. So that helps the child learn how to deal with deadlines appropriately.
That's true. I mean, I can say a lot about the joys of flexibility in homeschooling and the freedoms we have. But when you really want to be qualified to go to college or trade school or the military or have a career after high school, whatever it is that you're aiming to do, you have to have those things under your belt. And if you don't meet some deadlines, you're not going to be able to do it.
Right,
I'll
right.
put in a word for Esther and Moran, who aren't with us today, but they are also on our team of tutors on our website. And Esther was actually one of my students for years, and she's gone on to be a professional composer and performer, and she teaches flute and piano. She also teaches English and math, basic French, and the joys of homeschooling again. She is offering home ec and stewardship and even wilderness survival. I love what Esther puts in here, and some PE. Again, she's available by Zoom or in person, and you can find her on our team page on our website. And then just briefly, Moran is also amazing. She has a diploma in landscape architecture, so she can offer something that few people can about botany and horticulture, as well as French and poetry and physical science and math. So we have a wide cross section of tutors available, and also could help you find other people, the resources to find other tutors in your area if you want to go in person, you're not near us, or in another subject.
Yeah.
We should also say a word about Anne's specialty, consultation about homeschooling. I think you probably talked to Anne the most about that, Julie. Do you have some words about what she has offered as far as consultation?
Well, Anne has done an excellent job with homeschooling her son. I've never seen anything quite like it.
I agree.
So she's very meticulous and very thorough, very resourceful, and anybody who takes her up on her consulting her about ideas for homeschooling will not be disappointed. You, Edie, have done an excellent job with your children as well. So I'm sure anybody who talks to you about how to homeschool would not be disappointed either, because not everybody that I've evaluated, can I say that about, but you two have been exceptional. So there's doing the minimum, and then there's really having your heart and soul in what you're doing for your kids. And you and Anne epitomize having your heart and soul in doing everything you possibly can to make sure your kids have a great start after high school.
Well, thanks, Julie. That's great to hear, of course. And I will say that my kids really helped with that because of who they are. And, again, another joy of homeschooling, that you can give your child the reins in a certain respect, that they can follow their passions and really dig down as far as they can. And your job is to facilitate that, you know. So Anne's consultation is especially unique, I think, because she's helping homeschoolers to build their careers starting from junior high, just by doing exactly that, facilitating the natural inclination of your child. So, for instance, her kid was really into bird study.
Birds. Let's just go with birds.
Birds.
Yeah. Birds and nature. He's really into it.
Right.
I
Her
mean,
kid was.
Yeah.
So,
But that wasn't it, I mean, he was really into history as well. And one of the things she did is every day she had a quote from somebody, famous person, politician, somebody in history, and they would research why that person said that, and they would really dig into it on a daily basis. They did this. So literally she had 180 quotes that she came to her evaluation with.
that's a fun
And probably
idea.
even more than that. Yeah, it was a really good idea. She had just a unique approach to it. And so her son was not just into birds and nature, but he just had a tremendous depth of knowledge on a variety of subject matter.
And I love this.
What's interesting, he was dyslexic, and so you would never know it. You'd never
Right.
know it by the amount of books that he read, by the amount of papers he wrote, and he was an excellent writer. So, you know.
And I love the story she told about, she's a lawyer, and she would take him to her meetings with other lawyers, her class, I guess,
Yeah.
for continuing ed. And she would be a little distracted by something in her adult life. And she would look around, and her child had his hand up to answer the questions in the class.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
meant for her colleagues. So that's where he was.
Yeah. Right.
But what a consultant can do for you is during your whole homeschool journey, whether it's just getting started and you don't know where to find